Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the weather warnings as we do have rain warnings issued for parts of England over the course of the next few days, as we are going to see the return of heavy rain and some thunderstorms as we do see a cut-off low sitting to our south. Now, the rain looks so heavy because it is going to have a lot of humidity along with it, and to the north of the rain, temperatures are likely to rise quite significantly once again later this week, and I wouldn't be surprised to see temperatures once again in the mid to high 20s for parts of the Midlands, further northwards as well, maybe further southwards, but that will all depend on the positioning of those storms and the bands of heavy rain. Now look at that in detail on the latest UKV, looking at that increase in humidity once again over the next couple of days. And then we'll finish up by having a look at the longer range charts. And again, they are showing something quite a lot fresher next week. Not only back towards average or slightly below average, but perhaps even significantly below average from some of the runs, as we could see our first blast of proper cool air for the autumn. Some runs not showing it, other runs really taking off with the idea. So still a little bit up in the air, and we'll cover that in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. And remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, to start on the live radar, it has been a relatively dry day today. We have seen showers around, as we now have a westerly flow coming in, as it is a lot fresher. Now this morning, for some areas, especially in the east, it was still pretty humid and muggy and sticky, but over the course of the afternoon, it has turned a lot fresher, and you can see we're all into a westerly flow now. So much fresher, cooler conditions over the next day or so. But as I said, into Thursday and Friday, things will be turning a lot muggier once again. Now, to put on the temperatures around 9:30 as I'm recording this, you can see not too much in the way of oranges, and that is because we are in that fresher air. That warm, humid, summery air has gone away for the time being, but will be returning very shortly. Now, do look at the weather warnings. We do have warnings issued for Wednesday and Thursday, but coming into force late on Wednesday, so really not impacting us too much in the near future. You can see 9 p.m. on Wednesday through to 9 a.m. on Thursday. Heavy showers, perhaps thundery, are possible in places on Wednesday night into Thursday morning across this region. And we could see a lot of rain, maybe 20 to 40 millimetres in an hour or two, maybe as much as 50 millimetres in places. Again, I think the main risk will be the heavy rain, but definitely noted that there could be some big thunderstorms within the larger bands of rain. So yeah, it could be really quite intense in places for waking up on Thursday. You can see it is medium impact and very low likelihood. So I don't think everywhere in this yellow warning zone will be seeing severe thunderstorms or very heavy rain, but somewhere in here it is very possible, and where it does occur, it could be pretty hefty indeed. And that, as I said, warning goes through to Thursday. We're still likely to see some more heavy rain post 9 a.m. on Thursday, but there is still a lot of uncertainty over that, so I wouldn't expect any warnings to be issued yet. But probably by Wednesday morning, we probably will be looking at perhaps some more warnings being issued, as we could see further storms, especially across that southwest corner. That's where the likelihood is highest, being closer to that cut-off low. But again, you can't rule it out further north and east, was just more uncertain because of the positioning of the disturbance. Now, if you go over to the latest UKV, you can look at this in detail now. You can see over the course of the coming hours through this evening into Wednesday, it's relatively dry with a few showers around. Into Wednesday afternoon, a similar story to today, where there are showers, some of them heavy, but for most it is relatively dry. As we head into Thursday morning, though, you see the wind direction shifts and it moves to an easterly wind, and this is pushing warm, humid air back in off the continent. And what happens is this disturbance is over the top of us, which isn't particularly powerful at this stage, hasn't got too many showers along with it, just a few scattered through Wednesday, starts to power up. And look what happens to the precipitation across southern England. It really peps up through the afternoon, especially into the evening and overnight into Thursday. And that's why we've got that warning in force, because we could see some explosive action in terms of convection, thunderstorm activity as that does take off. Now, eventually slowly move southwards and westwards, impacting parts of South Wales, southern England, southwestern England. You can see some reds in there, again indicating the risk of torrential downpours and maybe even some thunder activity. As we head through Thursday afternoon, in the morning especially, we see more further heavy rain across southern areas, perhaps dissipating away for eastern areas through the afternoon, but persisting for much of the day in southwest England. And again, I wouldn't be surprised to see the warning extended for this. It's just slightly too far away, and there still is quite a lot of uncertainty with the positioning of this heavy rain to say with too much detail where that will exactly sit. Now, it is turning much more humid on Thursday, but because of the cloud and the rain around, the temperatures won't respond too much. But it's as we head into Friday and that rain slowly clears away, things could be much warmer, as you can see, much brighter conditions. Still a few showers across the far south and southwest, but nothing too crazy by Friday afternoon. To the north of that cloud and rain, though, very warm, very sticky and humid. As we move into Friday night, though, more heavy showers and thunderstorms across the far south coast may be drifting inland, and you can see why there is so much uncertainty. If this is 50 miles further northwards, lots of southern England south of the M4 will be seeing heavy thunderstorms, disruption. 50 miles to the south stays out in the channel, and we see nothing at all. So that's why we have so much uncertainty, and we haven't got warnings issued for this yet, because the potential is there for something quite severe with these thunderstorms and heavy rain. It's just the positioning is still all up in the air. As we progress into Saturday, again, there could be the few odd thundery showers through the afternoon, nothing too crazy. And as we head into Sunday, another band of heavy thundery rain moves up from the south. Just shows you the persistence of the rain when we see these cut-off lows sat to our south. In the longer range videos, we always bring up, got to keep an eye on cut-off lows, and this is a specific example why they can be so horrible, because if they sit to the south, you can just see repeated patterns of heavy bands of rain, and this time of year with humid air mixing in, big thunderstorms moving in as well. And again, if we look at the meteor level pressure, you see over the course of Wednesday, we do have a weak area of low pressure system that is sinking southwards, but it really forms to our south, and we see that easterly wind flowing in. You can see it here just sat across northern France, and that is fueling all of that heavy rain in the south, and it stays there. The easterly wind dragging in warm, hot, humid air to the south, though, lower pressure, and that allows those thunderstorms and showers to continue developing all the way towards the weekend. Again, if we put on the upper air temperature, see nothing too special over the next couple of days, but it's really into Thursday, upper air temperatures start to rise quite significantly, especially through the afternoon into the evening and overnight to Friday. Very warm, hot, humid upper air temperatures pushing in. Could be really quite oppressive on Friday. Again, very sticky indeed, and then slowly dissipating away into the weekend, but still remaining very warm. Again, this time of year, it's almost impossible to sustain those top temperatures, so it will slowly peter back towards average by the start of next week before potentially turning much cooler. Now, if you put on the 2-meter temperatures here, you can see as we head into Wednesday afternoon, temperatures peaking, maybe mid to high teens, so really nothing too special, actually relatively chilly compared to the past few days. As we head into Thursday, temperatures perhaps rising slightly higher, maybe 20, 21. We'd expect it to be even higher than this, but because of the rain and cloud around associated with that first burst of humid air, it won't allow those temperatures to rise all too much. As we head into Friday, though, look at those temperatures by the middle of the afternoon, widely low to mid 20s, maybe high 20s in places. But look at that green corner towards southwest England, the dividing line between the rain and the sun. And you can see temperature contrast of around 10 or 12 degrees. So that's why there is so much riding on the positioning of those thunderstorms and showers. You see them on top of you, lots of rain, cool, humid conditions. You see them to your south, you're in the warm, sunny conditions, and it will feel like we're in the midst of summer once again. So it could go either way. Still a few days away, so things can change. Need to keep a very close eye on it. As we head into Saturday, less showers and storms around, but of course the temperature's starting to drop slowly, but still 24, 25, and into Sunday again could see low 20s, but again temperatures starting to drop away with a bit more showers, activity around, and a bit more cloud, inevitably falling back towards average. So another burst of heat, but again it's accompanied by some thunderstorms, especially in southern areas through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. If you do have a look at the longer range, though, we'll be able to see that things look like they could change completely into next week. Again, we see this low sat to our south. It's not much more distinct here. It's this small yellow blob, this cut-off low to the south of the higher pressure, and that's fueling all the showers and storms over the next few days. You can see, though, into Tuesday, Wednesday next week, we'll see low pressure exit out of Greenland and Iceland and slowly head our way, with the jet stream diving in from the north, heading southwards. And this will allow much fresher Atlantic air to move in. Now, the GFS isn't too direct with it here, so it is more of a transient air mass. Nothing too cool is coming in. Again, for a really cool air mass this time of year, you need a really direct northerly wind, because inevitably cooler air masses warm up as they head towards the UK and Europe, where the ground temperatures are still warm, and we've got a lot of warm air still around to collide with. So it isn't amazingly cold here, but definitely showing temperatures more around average or below average, with more blues in play. And as we'll see from a couple of the runs in a minute, they go even cooler than this. If you compare to the GEM, again, broadly very similar, with the cut-off low over the next few days. Eventually that low exits out of Greenland, and it's a much stronger northerly wind with much tighter isobars, and that means it goes much fresher indeed. And you look at those upper air temperatures, and you see the 0 degree isothermy is really quite cold air. And look at the temperature deviation for much of northern and western Europe, around 8 to 10 degrees below average. Really quite chilly indeed. Again, if we put on the 300 HPA winds, you can see why this is happening. The jet stream goes in towards Greenland and then dips southwards, and in this little dip, this little kink in the jet stream over the UK, a big pool of cold air gets enveloped and heads our way. So yeah, turning much fresher to the middle of the second half of next week. And again, if we go in towards the surface and have a look at those surface temperatures, at best, we're looking at 15 or 16 degrees. So not cold, but relative to what we've had and what we're going to have over the next few days, it is chilly indeed. Most areas a few degrees cooler than that. And again, that doesn't add on the wind chill with that northerly flow. Wouldn't be surprised if it feels more like single digits for many if this came off. If you compare to the ECMWF, again, broadly very similar, with a cut-off low over the next few days. Eventually, low pressure systems exit out of Greenland, again with this relatively direct northerly. See much fresher conditions coming in for a time, maybe even the -5 isotherm drifting into northern Scotland there. That would be quite an event if that did occur. And again, temperatures by day, 12 or 13 at best, 6 or 7 further northwards, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a frost potentially over the Highlands of Scotland. So yeah, really quite chilly indeed. And yeah, look at those overnight temperatures, low to mid, maybe higher single digits at best. So this would be really quite horrible. Massive contrast if this did occur, going from late summer, midsummer feel towards a mid to late autumn feel with this northerly flow. And we can see this in detail on the latest ensembles, around average at the moment, much higher than average over the next few days by about 5 to 8 degrees, slowly trending towards average, and then a drop to about 5 degrees below average. Still got a lot of spread there though into next week, so it might come off, might not come off. We'll have to wait and see, but some very cool runs there. So we could be going from 16, 17 degrees at 850 HPA down to 0 in the space of about 5 or 6 days. Again, that will be a massive temperature contrast, and it will be a massive feel-like temperature contrast as well. That's the biggest thing. You could be going from t-shirt and shorts on Friday to maybe even hats and gloves for some rural areas by Wednesday next week. Luckily, it won't last too long. It's still early September, so so it's the same as it's impossible to sustain a very hot air mass, it is impossible to sustain a very cold air mass as well. So both get moderated in due course. So yes, fresher for a couple of days, but it would turn milder once again after that. There is a decreasing signal for precipitation, which is positive, but still not 0, just less. And again, that's expected with a drier, colder air mass. And then if we do finally compare to the ECMWF, the midday run's just coming out, so we'll look at the midnight run. Very similar. Above average over the next 3, 4, 5 days with high precipitation, a lot of rain around, and then a big drop to around 5, 6, 7 degrees below average by next week. So going from very warm, summery conditions to cooler autumnal conditions. And again, we've highlighted over the last few videos, northern areas are going to see very little rain at all this week. Same in terms of temperatures, going from very warm to very cool, maybe even more extreme. Here, 15 degrees is being forecasted for Glasgow at 850 HPA, and 0 degrees forecasted about 5 days later, so massive temperature contrast there. But I think the most important thing is while we have the warm conditions, it is dry, so actually it'll be really quite pleasant. And again, if we look at those 2 meter temperatures, by 20 to 22 degrees, maybe only down to 11 or 12 by this time next week. So yeah, could be going from very summery conditions to very cool autumnal conditions in a short space of time. It is expected this time of year, but yeah, could be a very big swing. I just want to warn you in advance that that could be coming up in the near future. But for the time being, we've got the warm, summery, humid conditions to deal with. Lots of thunderstorms in places, especially into Thursday. But it looks like Wednesday is going to be a relatively quiet day, so we should get another update out tomorrow, looking at this in a bit more detail. And hopefully we'll have an update for those warnings as well, and a bit more consistency with some of the models for later this week, and to see exactly what will happen. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.